At the top of this very English-sounding street is a building that has pretensions of being straight out of Tudor England. The Tudor period refers to the Tudor monarchy's reign over England, Wales and Ireland between 1485 to 1603. It was a time of figures such as Henry VIII, the English king known for his 6 wives, Elizabeth I, the last Tudor queen with no husband or heirs, Mary Queen of Scots, who got her head chopped off, in the words of a macabre childhood rhyme, Walter Raleigh, a famous explorer who discovered the potato, and William Shakespeare, the famous playwright and poet. But back to Perth. This is a mock Tudor building, actually constructed in 1937, a time more associated with motion pictures than plays. Indeed, it feels like a film set, looking very out of place next to modern skyscrapers. It's therefore one of the things I remember most about my original travel to Western Australia over 2 decades ago, and it's the first thing I went to see when I arrived back in 2024. The building is called London Court. In Tudor times, court meant the royal household and was the centre of politics, society and culture. In contrast, London Court is simply a shopping centre, which is a bit of a letdown, but appropriate considering Napoleon referred to England as a nation of shopkeepers. Here you can buy jewellery, antiques, books, souvenirs, and Ugg boots, among other things. You can get your hair done, image done, and teeth done. Several family businesses have been operating in London Court for generations, and in the past, London Court also traded in political ideologies and even romantic partners. The Communist Party of Australia once rented offices there and ran a bookshop which sold the Workers' Star newspaper. If you're more into love than Lenin though, London Court Matrimonial was at your service. Way before dating apps, it introduced potential matches to each other. They seem to have some success, with one of their matched couples getting married only a week after they were introduced. It's pretty ornate for a shopping centre, even by Perth standards, which has some very stylish Art Deco malls like the Trinity Arcade on your screens now. Apparently during the construction of London Court, specialist craftsmen were brought in to project an authentic Tudor style. Indeed, there are some great artistic touches, such as the black wrought iron gates, ornate roofs at the entryways, weather vanes, lions and unicorns on the bins, and images of the historical characters I mentioned earlier. Sir Walter Raleigh appears again as a statue above the south exit. The statue at the north exit is of Dick Whittington and his cat, a character from a 1600s rags to riches folktale, where a boy makes a fortune by selling his cat to a rat-infested country. Then there are the clocks. London Court connects 2 business streets, Hay Street and St George's Terrace. Above the Hay Street entry gate to London Court is a clock inspired by a 14th century French clock, the Great Clock of Rouen. If you're wondering what a French clock has to do with London Court, the city of Rouen had close links with the Tudors and was where Henry VII prepared for his invasion of England in 1485. On the St George's Terrace side is said to be a replica of London's Big Ben clock face. Sources differ over which clock is which, and whether one of them even resembles Big Ben at all. The real Big Ben clock tower in London was constructed in 1859, a long time after the Tudor period. However, Big Ben does feature symbols related to the Tudor dynasty, so it may have been seen as appropriate for London Court. What do you think, dear viewer? More certain is the 4 model knights engaged in a jousting contest at the Hay Street entrance. In fact, you could say they are as reliable as clockwork, appearing each time the clock chimes. Denoting the street name at the other end, above the clock is a model of St. George fighting a dragon. St. George obviously being the patron saint of England. When it first opened, London Court lent into English culture with a ye olde English fair. For 3 days, volunteers dressed in Elizabethan costumes and performed folk singing and passages from Twelfth Night. These days, visitors can stroll through the mall, watch the clock, or have a coffee in the cafe. But imagine living in London Court. Well, at one time you could, as originally it included residential flats above the commercial properties. While ye olde charm attracted residents, there were also practical draws too. Rents were low, it was a central location, and it was secure. You see, London Court had a caretaker, and gates were locked overnight, which made it a popular place to live, particularly for single women. Residents also had an early version of Deliveroo, with the basement tavern delivering food to their door. Unfortunately, zoning laws ended the chance to live in London Court. I was about to say bureaucracy ruins everything. However, that same bureaucracy also ensured the building became heritage listed and is therefore still here for us to enjoy today. So who created London Court and why? It was dreamed up by a Perth businessman, Claude de Bernales, who was born in England and had emigrated to Australia during the gold rush. He made his money from mining, so he wasn't short of a bob or two, and to show his friends and colleagues he had made it, he commissioned a Melbourne architect to create a building based on Liberties of London, a luxury department store in London, which to be fair looks pretty similar. Claude's luck changed shortly after London Court opened, when his business dealings and finances crashed. He sold the building in 1950 and ended up a recluse back in England. A sad story, but the building stands as a legacy to his vision. When the governor of the day opened London Court, he suggested it was both unique in Australia and an ornament to the city. The jury's still out on whether London Court is an ornament, with views on TripAdvisor ranging from kitsch to Mr. de Bernales' Elizabethan folly, to much loved by the people of Perth. However, it's certainly unique in Australia, visited daily by tourists and recently purchased by a Singaporean property developer for $28.4 million. All this shows that London Court is nowhere near being adjourned.